Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Testing, testing. Are we live? Are we live? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that took so long. It took way longer than I thought it would because I I haven't streamed for so long. I had to update a whole bunch of stuff. I had to edit a few settings. I accidentally started my vertical, which I don't really put publicly anymore. I just do it for like clips that I still haven't edited, but I wanted to do that, but I kept forgetting to, and now it's. I haven't streamed for so long. Oh shit. Um. Yeah. Sorry. Where was I? Yeah, I had to set up a bunch of this stuff again because I hadn't streamed for so long. I had to like clean this area too, so I was just like not ready to to stream again. I'm sorry about that. Let me try to pull up chat real fast too. I forgot I need to like update this too. There was a lot. There was also the issue of my tracking not working for a sec. So I was like, that was the last thing. Like I was setting everything up. I was ready to go like 5 minutes ago, but then like my tracking stopped working, and then so I just couldn't get started. Ah, no, this isn't working. Just give me a sec. Let me just make sure. Okay. Hopefully that's good to go. Just test. Test. Okay, yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay, good. Good. Just this needs a dockable mode, but okay. Okay. Good. So that guy again. I did want to mention that like yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be around for the holidays. There was just lots that needed to do with family stuff. I probably should have been more active on Twitter, more active on socials, just to like show that I was still around. But you know, it's super busy time for us. It's and so that's sort of why I couldn't get around to like doing streams. I really wanted to be frank, but then it's like a lot of other stuff had to come first, and so I just couldn't. There was no realistic opportunity to do so. So I hope you understand. The I there's a lot of stuff that I came to realize that I want to do as in terms of like resolutions. So like the first and foremost is that actually unironically, like I've been wanting to cosplay for a while, and so I'm starting to get myself set up to cosplay. I'm like taking measurements and everything, and so I wanna try cosplaying. I'm probably not gonna do that on any sort of main account, but if and when that ever gets started, I'm gonna put that on a side account, and then later on. And then in general, just like with everything we've been doing with all the like cocktail mixing and the shotgunning beers and what we're gonna be doing today, I really need to start getting focused on actually editing those streams into like more consumable videos. So I'm gonna be working on that a lot more, hopefully. And so those are like my really big resolutions for this year. And of course, like I've mentioned it a lot before, but I have a redesign in process, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited to see like how this evolves with that. But in terms of today, I wanted to try making old fashions, and not just any old fashions. I'm going to make old fashions with a variety of different spirits. In fact, they're now all up here. So the old fashioned is a very simple uh is a very simple cocktail. It's one of the it's not one of the original cocktails actually. There is a fun story about the old fashioned. So well, I'll get to that in a sec, but I'm going to make a variety of old fashions. I have 4 glasses here. I might make a 5th if there were 4 base spirits I was gonna do, including a classic bourbon old fashioned, but I did want to try it with vodka, with rum, with gin, and as well, and perhaps other things. We'll see where it goes. It is the old fashioned is a very simple cocktail. It's 3 ingredients, 4 if you include the orange peel, and I do. It does matter, but it's not like the most. It's not an essential part. It's an important part. It's not an essential part. If that makes any sense. Like, you don't have an old fashioned if you don't have the base 3 ingredients, but the 4th of the orange peel, or just the citrus peel in general, is very important. So it's simple syrup, bitters, and spirit. Usually that would be like whatever fancy syrup you want. Like, it can be a basic simple syrup, or you can use a fancier syrup like Syrup Maris here. Usually Angostura bitters, which are just lovely, very very universal, very good, very very iconic. And then the spirit would usually be whiskey. It was a whiskey drink. When people made improved whiskey cocktails, they were whiskey based. When people decided they wanted old fashions instead of IWCs, they were whiskey based. And so the drink is usually a whiskey drink. So let's get started with the basic whiskey you want. Now, I will say part of my excitement for this stream is the fact that they are all going to be stirred drinks, and not only are they stirred drinks, they are all made inside of the they are all made inside of the glass. I should shrink myself. Give me a sec. There we go. Yeah. Old fashions are made directly in the glass, so I will not need to like go back and forth stirring. I will not need to go back and forth cleaning my one shaker over and over again. This should be a much more streamlined process, and so we can get through more drinks faster. And I would really like a nice old fashioned. They sound nice right now. I will need to go back and forth just to grab ice, but that'll be it. I just grab a rock of ice, drop it into this, and do that. Typically, you want to add the ice at the end because you don't want to start diluting it right away, but also I don't want to have to deal with all the splashing. And doing it first doesn't really matter. You're doing most of your dilution at the end, and I'll explain everything I'm saying later. But for now, all you need to know is that the diet, it's served on the rocks, or rather on a big rock. So give me a sec, let me get my first rock, and we will do the first old fashioned, which will be a standard whiskey old fashioned with my favorite bourbon. I was actually running low on ice when I was doing this. I had to make a lot more clear ice, and it might not look very clear right now, but that's just on the outside. I've made it with directional freezing, so it will look clear once we like knock off all the like stuff on the outside, the frost on the outside. So, with a standard old-fashioned, we will do, for me, a half ounce of simple syrup, and the amount of syrup you use is very negotiable here. If you like yours more sweet, you can add more. If you like yours less sweet, you can always add less. So my simple syrup is 2-to-1, and as I've mentioned that all the time, you should only ever make your simple syrup 2-to-1. Why? Because it's shelf stable. My simple syrup has been out here unrefrigerated for months. It still tastes the same as it was freshly made. It is completely shelf stable because it's actually too sugary for bacteria. It is toxic to anything that could possibly live in it. So it's safe. Don't worry about it. And if I were... I want to not muddy the process a little bit, so I do want to make it as basic as possible with regular simple syrup. If you wanted to... This is a good place to add your own flair to it. I like using a nice rich Demerara syrup, which is like... I'm not actually sure what Demerara is. It's not brown sugar. It's like a brown sugary thing. It's a brown sugar, but it's not brown sugar. Brown sugar is regular sugar with maple syrup in it. Like, Demerara is its own thing, and it's very rich and it's very flavorful. I really like Demerara, and it adds a sort of richness, a little boldness to your old fashions that is hard for me to explain, but it's really good. I would say most old fashions have around 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, so Angostura bitters. And for the record, that is going to be how I make every old fashioned today. It will be half an ounce of simple, two dashes of Angostura bitters, and then dealer's choice on the spirit. Today's, for our bourbon, for our normal whiskey old fashioned, we will be doing Old Grandad, my personal favorite whiskey. In fact, I had to buy this just this morning because I ran out of it, because I like it so much, because I drink it all the time. I can never get tired of this stuff. It is really good. It is probably the best mid-tier whiskey out there. It is great clean. It is just great neat, I think is the term, when you drink it without ice. When you drink it on its own without ice, is very lovely clean, and then neat, Jesus. and like when mixing, it's like the optimal version of like the standard bourbon, I think, because it's like a lot of bourbons, the way you make it, it's like it's largely there is a lot of similarities to how other ones are made, but like cheaper versions of what is made with Old Grandad, it still tastes pretty good, but then Old Grandad is the best version of it. So it's like whatever you think of as like the most C+ tier, Old Grandad is the best version of that, and it makes it like an A- just because it's so good at everything. It's like very accessible, relatively basic flavors, but like so good and plenty of complexity that it makes it great. 2 ounces of our lovely Old Grandad bourbon, and then simply stir. That's hello there, Urchibity. So glad you can make it. I saw Clara was streaming, so I figured you were there. How are you? How was that stream? I checked in just in time to see her sing Shiny Teeth. It was that was nostalgic. I fucking love that song. That song just tickles me so much. I was so tempted to mention to her because another VTuber sang that song, and she would. And like the thing about that song is, so it's about like having shiny teeth and being proud of it. Oh my god, it's lovely. Um, and that song is exactly 2 minutes long, so it's actually, it's actually, ironically, just a perfect song to brush your teeth to. She ended early because she had some kind of appointment. Ah, okay, okay. She has a wonderful voice. That's a. It's almost a shame that it ended early, but hey, at least you got to listen to it. Finally, once you're finished stirring, uh, some orange zest. And whenever you use zest, you should do it relatively close to the thing. I should try to do it over, but I'm not confident in doing that. There we go. Nice pool of orange peel, and you want to squirt that onto, you want to squeeze the oils onto your drink. And then, of course, it's nice to rim the glass with it and just drop it in there so that it can continue leaching the oils. It's very, it matters. It really matters. So you would be surprised how much it matters. It seems like so little, but it actually adds so much. I once tried, when I was early on in making cocktails, and the old fashioned is such an easy drink that it's a great one to practice on. I made one without the orange peel. I just forgot to add it. And I was like, okay, this one was okay. I added the orange peel and it suddenly like popped off. It was so good. And so like the orange peel does matter. And do use a fresh orange. I have a bad habit of like buying oranges, buying too many oranges. They go slightly bad. They're still edible, but then like the skin is like not firm anymore, so I can't get good peels off of it, and then it just kind of sucks. But I got one song request in La Vie en Rose. I've never heard that song. How'd she do on it? Anyways, cheers. You can't go wrong with an old fashioned. It's a little bit of a funny thing because it's like, why would this be good? It's like, I always consider it like wood candy because like bourbon often, whiskey in general usually takes on the flavor of the wood that it was aged in the barrel, and so like it's got that woody, just kind of peanutty, kind of like, because I'm using normal simple here too, there's not much to say about anything else other than the whiskey. Yeah, peanutty, like, I don't know what barrels they use, but you can taste the wood on it. You can taste like there's like a little bit of fruitiness to it. That is the key to an old fashioned, is that, and this is what blew my mind the first time I made an old fashioned, is that you make it with a basic simple syrup. You make it with the Angostura bitters, which, while a powerful flavor, is like a very distinct flavor, so you can separate it from the whiskey. And then the whiskey itself, and then you just realize how complex this whiskey is. You might not be able to understand it yet, but you will feel, you will taste every individual flavor, every individual note within an old fashioned. And so even if you don't understand all the flavors yet, you will notice them, and it blows your mind. It blows your mind way open to like the possibilities, to how complex these drinks are. It's not pretentiousness. It's not like some snobs who have been tasting for years, and like, even if you appreciate it's a skill, that like it just feels very pompous. No, even as a newbie, if you make yourself an old-fashioned, you will taste all sorts of unique flavors you have never experienced before, and you might not be able to explain them, but you know they're there. You will finally see the trees in the forest. And it's great because like it neutralizes. You've spread out, you spread it out enough with just the simple syrup and the Angostura bitters that like you've neutralized most of the burn, so it lets you experience the whiskey in full. And as long as you have a good whiskey, you have a good drink. And Old Grandad is a fantastic whiskey. So that was the whiskey old fashioned. I'm in very dangerous. I'm in big danger of finishing this because it's so good. But I did want to try other old fashions. Really old French song, Pretty Finn with Vibe. Oh yeah, she was doing some weird like. She does a lot. Is it wrong to call it role play? Because it's like this weird like role play type thing where she's like while it might be a karaoke, it's like themed around a certain way. I'm not sure, but yeah, I can see that being a nice little thing. One more, this is really good. I actually haven't had a classic old fashioned in a long time. I make a lot of IWCs. Actually, I wanted to tell the story about. I might as well. Might as well enjoy this in case I don't enjoy the other ones as well. Um, the fun story about oats, the old fashioned is that despite its simplicity, despite its name, it is not the first iteration. It is in fact the last iteration of a whiskey cocktail. So before Jerry Thomas, no one really bothered to write down recipes. Bartending had been an art for a while, but there wasn't really any cocktail books before Jerry Thomas, who is essentially the first legendary bartender. And it was because he wrote down his recipes. He went around, copied some other people's recipes, made his own, like really put down the art of making these drinks, making his own, making other people's one, opening bars in San Francisco during the gold rush, during like all this other or all these other times, like traveling around America. And so oh there were lots of iterations of a whiskey cocktail. I forget when exactly it was. Most of my knowledge is from How to Drink about this topic. He tells the story very well. Like the first iteration of it would be like a Genever cocktail, which is just like similar thing. You have to remember they didn't have refrigeration, so instead of ice, they just diluted it directly with water, and so it would be like Genever, water, or bitters, and like a sugar cube instead of like syrups, because we didn't know how to make syrups yet. You stir that up, it's a lovely cocktail. It's not as good as it could be nowadays with actual ice, but it was good. And then people iterate on it, but are converging on the same point to like very modest improvements. They have ice at this point, they have syrups at this point, so they use a fancy syrup. They put a bar spoon of maraschino, they put a bar spoon of curacao, they wash the glass with absinthe. They mix up the bitters. They might use like a grapefruit bitters and a Angostura bitters, and then the whiskey. And we call that, nowadays we just call that an improved whiskey cocktail, because that is the convergence we got to, was like almost everyone was making it this sort of way, and just making like a really fancied up whiskey cocktail that had a ton of different ingredients in it that all worked really well together, and it's lovely. In fact, I do prefer an IWC, an improved whiskey cocktail, over an old fashioned. There were people who disagreed. People didn't like that it was getting so fancy and you're using all them syrups and all them different things. I want it the old-fashioned way, except that they don't remember exactly what the old-fashioned way was. They still like having ice. They do like they still liked having ice. They liked having specific things about the new way, except that they wanted it pared back down to just be about the whiskey. Just give me the whiskey. And then so the old fashioned became a very simple thing of simple syrup, bitters, whiskey. And it turns out that is fine. In fact, that is still excellent. This is still an excellent drink, and it only took 3 ingredients. Me now. And then I'm continuing to work on my model, but I'm not sure if I'm live right now. I want to make sure I'm live first before I can fix my model. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live again? Am I live? Hello, hello. Am I live? You see stuff? Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix my model. I'm not sure why it lost connection now, but yeah, it's it's not being kind to me right now. That's for sure. You'll have to give me another sec. You see and hear? That's awesome. That's awesome. My model is moving on my on my phone. It's just not moving on the screen. So it's very frustrating why this is the case. We can PNG for now. Yeah, I'm gonna try one more thing, but if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna move on. Oh, okay. I see. I see. Um, Jesus. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, okay. Hopefully it's fine that there's no music. I think part of it was the music. I was doing the old thing of like my I I remember it's an old Hololive bit way back during like the Coco era. I forget who she was doing with, but she apparently like they were doing their BGM through YouTube, so that's what I was doing, and I think that just chewed up all my RAM all at once. So the thing of it is, I really did not want to use um I didn't want to use regular background music. I did want to have it to be blank. And apparently on YouTube, uh Twitch is that, so technically speaking, licensed music is still not allowed. So you're not supposed to play licensed music. The way people play licensed music is that they have separate audio tracks. So what the chat hears. Oh, am I muted? Sorry. Test, test, test. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Did you hear the slurp? Oh my god, this is so good. Oh my god, this is saving my sanity right now. This is so good. Actually, while we're here, it is not it is not uncommon to you mute and unmute in the time it took for you to read it. Okay, okay. I think what's happening is for whatever reason my audio whatchamacallit, my audio interface is not is kind of on the fritz today. One more thing about old fashions is that it is not uncommon for whiskey cocktails for them to grate a little nutmeg into it. In fact, in old timey times, they just put nutmeg in damn near everything, and they were right to do so. Putting nutmeg in anything is like a weird cheat code. It just adds a lot of character to a lot of stuff. So hopefully that actually dissolves into the drink. Oh yeah, oh yeah. adding the spices to that makes it even more like a dessert drink, like candy, like a little baked treat. That's so good. Mm. I shouldn't finish this because I need to take a picture of it later. What was the last thing I said? Because now I'm worried that I just lost a ton of footage. But I really think it's important to like tell this story about the old fashioned. Sorry about that. Sorry about that whole debacle. Uh, what was I saying about background music? Yeah, so I really wanted to use like Blue Archive background music, to be frank, but I also, because I'm trying to turn these into YouTube videos, I do want it to be a blank slate. So like the thing I was mentioning with Twitch is that they do separate audio tracks. So what gets sent to Twitch is has no background music, but what gets sent to the chat has background music. And if you're using legal music, this is a useful to do anyways, because then you can use the blank thing with no background music, and when you turn it into videos, they would whatchamacallit, they would they're a blank slate, so you can add your own background music. And so that's why I really wanted to do with YouTube, and that's why I was thinking about doing like no BGM streams. Like I can turn it back on, but I do feel like I really want to have my own blank slate, but also like it's not necessarily the best that entertaining to not have background music, so I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. It took only 3 ingredients, Squeak. Did you hear all about like the improved whiskey cocktail, about how they added like a bunch of stuff to it, or was it, or did all that get lost? How do you feel about the background music thing, by the way, too? Like I can always turn it back on. There's a lot of the free Dova syndrome stuff and other stuff used. That's not necessarily the point I was making. The point is more that like when I go to edit these streams later on, I want to have a blank slate so I can put my own background music in. You know what I mean? Instead of like having the background music and then like I might be talking about something and then have to edit to jump to the next part because like there's like maybe a 2 minute dead section of me cleaning my glasses or whatever, and then it's, you know, oh it's not there's no continuity is the word I'm looking for. You know what I mean? But yeah. Well, I'm gonna assume you heard about the improved whiskey cocktail. So it only took 3 ingredients for an old fashioned now. Um, and they really wanted to simplify it. So instead of all these fancy syrups and these bar spoon of this and bar spoon of that and like the absinthe wrist, they wanted it plain and simple. Just syrup, whiskey, bitters, block of ice, maybe some nutmeg, and most likely an orange peel. Hello, Filter T. You missed a lot of chaos. You missed a lot of scuff shit of me like not knowing how to stream because it's been a while. Oh, it was so frustrating, but I really want to do this stream. I have a lot of fun ideas. I have a lot of things I want to talk about with old fashions because this is such a great drink. How are you doing, T? Yeah, and that's what the old fashioned is for. If you want to drop the BGM so it makes a better video continuity layer, I can see it working. Okay, yeah, then there we go. No BGM for now. Dude, I totally lost my train of thought. So, oh yeah, the old fashioned is the last as the iteration of is the last iteration of the whiskey cocktail, and obviously it continues to evolve from there. But the old fashioned itself became a formula of sorts. So that formula of bitters, sugar, spirit, I think could make good drinks no matter what. I was kind of inspired by this with How to Drink had a funny episode where he takes bad drink orders that people got in restaurants, and one of the ones he did was a gin old fashioned, and he was like, "This tastes fine. I don't know why this is considered a cursed cocktail because it just tastes fine." It's weird to imagine a gin old fashioned, but that works. And so I kind of wanted to see what other old fashions taste like, and thus why I wanted to do this stream. And the next old fashioned I'm gonna make, we made the basic whiskey old fashioned, which excellent. um, Now I want to make a tequila old fashioned, and you want to know why? It's partly because I started playing Cyberpunk again. But let me grab a block of ice first. Doing good? That's awesome. That's awesome. D&D went well today. Oh yeah, you were part of a D&D thing. That's awesome. I'm jealous of you, honestly. D&D seems fun. Playing a game though, so might not be active in chat. Oh, what game are you playing? Let me know. I'll be right back. Just give me 10 seconds. Game in VR chats called Terrors of Nowhere. Ooh, that sounds fun. I know like VR chat and all these various like social simulator games always have like a weird dearth of like really deep like fan made games that's super awesome. And it's like it's crazy to me that they can do all that. Like I remember I forget which VTubers but they played like Roblox horror maps, and they're like legit. They're like legit, like well programmed, like balanced in a weird way, and like doing all sorts of crazy things. I'm surprised they can do so much within just VR chat. It's kind of crazy. Within just Roblox, and I know stuff like VR chat has that too. Okay. So same base as before. We're gonna start with our rock of ice. Usually you put that once again. Usually you put that in at the end, but I'm lazy to do that, so I'm just gonna do it at the beginning so I can have an uninterrupted flow. Been reading a lot of weird stuff on Wikipedia myself. Oh man, I used to get into Wikipedia rabbit holes a lot myself. I don't do it for conventional stuff as often, but when I get really into a new game, I can get really into um I can get into a deep rabbit hole, and it's like, "Oh, okay, so I'm playing well, again, say Cyberpunk." And then I like, "Okay, let me look up this thing that I need immediately. Like in game I'm doing this thing." And then I like, "Oh, okay. Let me try reading that article. I'm curious about this thing." It's like, "Oh, what's with this? I need the context for that. Let me read into this article." And then I just end up with like 14 tabs of like different shit. So we got our simple syrup and our Angostura bitters. Now we are going to add tequila instead of whiskey. And as I mentioned with the whiskey old fashioned, the old fashioned is such a good outlet for like teaching you. Oh shoot, I forgot. I forgot I had messed up the camera. There we go. The old fashioned is such a good um showcase for for the whiskey you put into it, that I'm willing to bet it's going to help me learn other things. I'm pretty good now at doing whiskey, at noting whiskey. I'm okay at noting rum and gin, but I think I could do better. And I've never been good at noting tequila. I feel like it would really help me to learn how to note tequila if I actually use tequila in an old fashioned. And wouldn't you know it, there's exactly 2 ounces left in this bottle. What I've been reading is historical hoaxes and urban legends, not the horror content, but for its origins. Oh yeah, there's always so weird stuff with various stuff like that. Like I was looking into like ones for video games. Like there's admittedly like I'm just really into like informational like list video type content, and so there's a YouTube channel called Outside Xbox, and every one of their videos is like 7 things about games that blah blah blah, and so like 7 urban legends you believe for too long, or 7 times the main character dies during the opening cutscene, or stuff like that. Can't forget the orange peel at the end. Ooh, this was a good rip. Okay, that was one of my better works. Oh my goodness, nice juicy peel right there. This one's gonna be nice and orangey. One tequila old fashioned, and I will tell a cyberpunk story, and I will tell my current obsession with cyberpunk, and the time I made a Johnny Silverhand after this. Oh, that's so orangey. Oh, it's a little. This was almost too good of an orange rip. I taste so much orange oil. I can't notice the tequila. Hold on, let me give you a second shot. Ooh, that's lovely actually. Yeah. I'll admit I've never been into tequila. I love tequila based drinks. So you give me a cocktail with tequila in it, I tend to love it. My issue was for a long while I just did not like tequila at all. And I'm pretty sure it's because I've only ever had shitty tequila. Um I when I went shopping for tequila lately, just in general, whenever I need a new bottle of tequila, I always ask the store, or one of the employees at the store, to recommend me a tequila, because it's like they tend to know their shit, and this is a lovely tequila. I It's hard for me to describe this, but it's like it it has the weirdness of tequila I don't like up front, but then it ends on like a beautiful aftertaste I really like. Yeah, it has like a grassy, like weirdly chewy herbal note, but then like it rides the sweetness as it brings in like a nice mellow, sort of more pleasant herby flavor that mixes with the Angostura really well too. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And it once again, it showcases the tequila. I am not very well versed in tequila at all. I can recognize the tequila taste in a lot of things, but I can't really differentiate between tequilas very well, because like I can't like judge each tequila's individual character that well. In the old fashioned style with just sugar, bitters, and the tequila itself, I can now like pick it apart. I now taste 4 different notes in it, as opposed to like, oh, the base tequila y flavor. That's Yeah, this is nice. I might have to try more of this. It's fascinating how many legends boil down to a guy makes up BS for shits and giggles and it keeps going. I've heard there's a conspiracy theory out there that was literally started by a guy who was just trolling, and then like people took it way too far. I think it's the birds aren't real conspiracy. Like I think the birds aren't real conspiracy is started by a guy who very clearly knew he was trolling, he was just taking the piss, and then like people just fucking ran with it and like it didn't stop. I'm just wondering how you can even describe a drink as chewy. It's weird because it's sort of like it kind of feels like at the beginning you're biting into like a cactus. Is the way it felt like to me, is the way I would describe it. Is like it tastes like how like aloe kind of smells, where it's like, okay, you imagine if you just bit down on a cactus and like let the juices flow into your mouth. That's why the first one of my first senses when drinking this was chewy. Yeah, because it's like I drink it and it feels kind of thick. Like the first two like tequila notes are really thick on your tongue. And so it almost feels like halfway to a solid. And then it like mellows out very quickly as it like rolls down your tongue into your throat and like has a really pleasant aftertaste. So it's like really strong up front, but then like really mellow as it goes down. Yeah, grassy, kind of herbal, kind of like a weird sweetness, and then it like mellows out into another herb at the end. Like that's probably the Angostura going down. Like that's really, I like this a lot. And once again, it just shows the power of the old fashioned. It really teaches you about drinks because like you don't really taste it's the thing about, and this is another like lesson to be learned with the old fashioned and just mixology in general, as to why you add simple syrup. Remember how in the Valhalla, remember in the Valhalla streams where I was complaining about, man, this needs simple syrup to balance it out. It needs simple syrup to balance it out. It needs simple syrup to balance it out. Remember how I kept saying that about a lot of drinks? It's true. Like the simple syrup in a drink, in a cocktail, is like a pinch of salt in your food, in your cooking, like when you're cooking spaghetti, or if you're cooking literally anything, if you're cooking anything and you forget to put the pinch of salt, it can feel like flat, it can feel like it's missing something, it feels like it's like the flavors aren't coming together well, and it's because the salt is like bringing out the other flavors to then incorporate with other flavors. Where And that's true of cocktails, except with sugar. Like if you put a little bit of sugar in there, if you put a little bit of sweetness in there, and you can adjust it all you like. I'm putting a half ounce of simple syrup. You can put less if you don't like it that sweet. You can put more if you're not used to it yet. When I used to make old fashions, I put a full ounce in there because I still wasn't good enough to like fight past the burn of alcohol, the alcohol burn. And so like that sugar helps moderate the rest of the drink so that you can actually effectively taste the rest of the drink, as opposed to it just being tasting like fire and burning. I'm curious if bitters are mandatory for all this stuff or not. I would say it's definitely mandatory for an old fashioned, because it so if the sugar is the salt, then Angostura bitters is the pepper. Like it adds that flavor. It adds a little bit of bite to it, but it's not the the amount you're putting in is like a teaspoon at most, because you're only dashing them. You put two dashes of that stuff, you're like putting a small, you're putting like half of a spoonful in. So it's like this is a very powerful flavor, but it's also you're putting so little in that it can't be the main feature. It helps it supplements it. You need it to help bring out and mesh with other flavors, but on its but also it's like it's not gonna take anything over. And besides that, these are delicious. Like I love finger store bitters. I can make a drink that is base bitters. There are drinks where you put a full ounce of this stuff into drinks, and it's lovely. It's funny. VR chat and Roblox have a lot of overlap in terms of games and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like people's creativity is insane. People can make all sorts of stuff with it. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I really wanted to talk about Cyberpunk for a while I sip on this. Um, Two things. One, I find it really cool that Cyberpunk 2077 legit made a drink. Legit made changed the cocktail in game. So remember how early in the game Jackie Wells orders a Johnny Silverhand for you? And that happened in the trailer too. You come in and Jackie's like two tequila old fashions with a two tequila old fashions with a splash of cerveza and a chili rim. And then the bartender goes, two Johnny Silverhands coming right up. And then and they serve it to you and it's like a relatively like it's generic. It's like a cup with ice in it and a clear liquid. Like it's nothing special. And it wouldn't be that color. Angostura Burgers is that color. Um it's How to Drink, my favorite mixology YouTuber, decided to make his own take on the Johnny Silverhand, where he did the thing, made a tequila old fashioned, and then he used a very fancy Mexican beer, a really fancy cerveza, to that was very high in alcohol. And this was important. It's very important. This is kind of a science lesson for you. Like you need for the cool visual effect he needed to have like the let me so focus on the vertical screen over here. He need in order to float liquids, you would need the densities to be like, and the higher alcohol content, the more likely it is to float. So you need a density differential, and so we need a high alcohol beer to float on top, and so we slowly floated it on top. And then so it won't completely flow on top because no beer is that high, but as long as it was high enough, it created this cool gradient effect. So you have this cool orange, and then it slowly fades to black as it fills the glass, and it was really cool looking. And he found the drink to be very delicious. And then so, oh, CD Projekt Red, the people who made Cyberpunk 2077, if you play that game now and you go to that scene where Jackie Wells orders two tequila old fashions with a splash of cerveza and a chili rim, also known as a Johnny Silverhand, what the bartender serves you to is that creation. The creation that's my favorite YouTuber, my favorite mixology YouTuber made. And that is such a cool detail. Issue: the beer he used is exceedingly rare to possibly impossible to find now. It might have been a seasonal only drink. And so because you can't find that beer, you can't make that drink. And so I decided to just use Modelo Negra, which is I, dark beer of Modelo is a weird thing to say because it's like there wasn't it's not very dark when you pour out that bottle. It's a black bottle, but what comes out is a normal golden hued beer. And so I did that. I made a Johnny Soderhand with Modelo Negro instead. And then it's like, first of all, it doesn't do the cool floating effect because it's just not high enough in alcohol. It's only like 6% alcohol. So it just mixes in. And the worst part of it, of how it is you drink it. And so I like this, right? I did like this drink. Mm, yeah, lovely, lovely. You add beer to it, and it doesn't actually ruin the drink. It still tastes like a lovely old tequila old fashioned with cerveza in it. The issue, the issue is exactly that. It tastes like a tequila old fashioned with some beer in it. It doesn't taste like the beer elevates it. The beer also doesn't ruin it. It just tastes the same. Even if you mix it together, it just tastes like a tequila old fashioned with some beer. Like if you were to take this and drink the beer separately, like it would taste the same as if you put it together. So like it doesn't mix well. Whatever How to Drink did, and I believe him. He's a good mixologist. Has to do with that specific beer because I don't think a normal beer can make a good Johnny Silverhand. You need to have like a fancy premium beer, which I don't think which you can't get anymore, which is very disappointing. That being said, like I mean, in, it was an interesting experience. And to get back to Cyberpunk, the game itself, man, I was actually kind of obsessed with it. I'm getting kind of obsessed with it right now. I got back into it because I really wanted to make a hacking build. And I tried that because I remember hacking being so shit when it was first released. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to be a hacker. I'm going to be a cool gunslinger that uses pistols. And then I did that. I had plenty of fun with it. I'm doing a hacking build now, and they improved the hacking, and now I feel like such a badass. It's really fun, and it's really cool how you can make all sorts of different builds. My friend is doing like an all-in melee build where he's like a samurai, and he can do like all these badass moves with slow motion and finishing moves and whatnot. And so that's really cool too. I really want to make a Red Hood build now where I'm like mobile and a sniper. So that sounds fun. I want to try that for another playthrough. Like I'm super deep into Cyberpunk right now. But yeah, don't make a Johnny Silverhand unless you have fancy beer, fancy cerveza, because it just doesn't work. At least in my opinion. Maybe we can try if I can ever find some fancy cerveza, but I can't. And I did look. I always go to the seasonal section. I go to the beer section. I go to like I've made the trip to like fancy places, to fancy liquor stores to try to find fancy cerveza, and I just can't find a high proof cerveza for a proper Johnny Silverhand. As someone who despises bitters as a main flavor, that sounds awful. I really hate bitter as a strong flavor. At best, it's a mild flavor in my. Like I said, like you're putting two dashes in it. You put the, and that's it. That's less than one of these. And then so it's like you will taste it. You will get the bitters flavor, but it's not going to be like dominant. You will not feel like it tastes mostly of this. It will taste mostly of the spirit you put into it. Okay. Oh wait, there was a fifth one I wanted to do. That's fine. We'll get to it. We'll get to it, and I get to rant about it afterwards. Um. Okay. Actually, chat. What do you want to do? Ooh, rum or gin? I'm looking forward to either one. Rum or gin. I'm looking forward to the gin one because that's what How to Drink tried, and he thought it was not bad, and I literally can't think of a reason why it could be bad either. It honestly, like gin and bitters sounds hella good. Wow. Honestly, too. To get back to the topic of bitters, uh, you know what's one of the best things I've tried that's non-alcoholic that involves bitters? Literally soda. Literally, just put it like literally drops. Like literally, put 2 drops of bitters into soda, and then it tastes great. And yes, this does contain alcohol, but if you're putting 2 drops of it, it dilutes so far that it's as though there's nothing in it. It's like what you call it? Your fruits. Fruits have alcohol in them. You will never get pulled over for eating too much fruit because there's so little of it that it cannot affect your body. That's the same with this. If you just put like literally a few drops in there or into your soda pop, into your glass of soda, it will not make you drunk, but this is a powerful enough flavor that you will taste it anyways, and it improves the flavor of your soda. Legit. My favorite thing I've read so far is about the Demogorgon. It predates the Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons. It basically comes from a Greek spelling error of Demiurge, basically God force. Oh, that's interesting. so so it came from a misspelling. I swear that's what what like so many VTuber memes come from. It's like someone misspelled something and then it becomes a meme. I remember like back when Pomucord was a thing, like people all the time would just post Rosemi tweets out of context because she was so bad at spelling. I'm pretty sure what it actually is that she tweets on her phone but has autocorrect off. That's my theory. But people didn't realize it was a spelling mistake and assumed it was some deity for centuries. A historian put back, a demigorgon is a grammatical error become God. That's crazy. That's intense. Oh my god. So no votes for gin or rum? If there's none, I'm probably just gonna go rum. Let me sip more of this though, because this is delightful. Mm. Even diluted, it's getting kind of diluted. It's so good. Whatever you feel like doing first, sure. And not God, as I originally wrote. Oh, my bad, my bad. Okay, so same base as before. Actually, first I need to grab the ice. Give me about 10 seconds. I was going to put whatever you feel like doing first. This God, but I stopped myself. Oh my goodness. Okay, so same base as before, half an ounce of simple syrup. And as I mentioned each other time, the amount of simple syrup is dealer's choice. If you want more sweet, make it more sweet. If you want less sweet, make it less sweet. Actually, I think I'm gonna do the gin after all. 2 dashes of Ango. God, Ango smells so good too. Do I use my Japanese Akori or do I use my Tanqueray London Dry? I think it would. I think it would be cleaner if I used my London Dry. So I'm gonna go with Tanqueray London Dry Gin. 2 ounces of Tanqueray. Ah, chill out. Okay. And then give that a nice stir. Oh god, this ice cube is too big. This ice cube is too big. Never watched from her much Rosumi. Not that I disliked her, she was just too say so for me. I agree. I never really got into Rosumi myself. It was just not my style. I it's there's I have this weird problem with like modern like clearly younger VTubers than myself. I'm a little bit of an on the older crowd. I can tell that they're going to be good streamers like right away. I was like, oh yeah, this VTuber is gonna be great. This VTuber is gonna be great. This VTuber is gonna be great. I can also tell that I'm absolutely not gonna be into them because they're gonna be too zoomer for me. Who did I feel about this way about pretty recently? It was like it was one of the Idol EN girls, and I just knew for a fact that she was gonna be like hot stuff. I knew for a fact that she was gonna be a damn good streamer. I just also knew there was no chance in hell that she was gonna be my type. Oh, that tasted weird on the spoonful. Oh wait, right. Orange peel. Ain't no way this is bad. Ain't no way this is bad, but it tastes a little weird. Ah! Okay. Oh, decent rip from there. I sometimes watch Lulu Lasso on Twitch, the Yadu cowgirl. Oh my god, now you have to introduce me. But she keeps bringing up that she's 20 and like, I'd rather you dance. I do. I will say I am a little bit tired of like the whole age thing going on with mainly the hag thing, especially because it's become the new mommy, which is to say like any female who's remotely mature in any way is now a hag. It's like, okay, can we let this joke die, please? It's gone too far if we're just calling everything hags. Cheers, gin old fashioned, which is the least cursed cocktail that Greg tried. Oh yeah, that's hella good. Oh, oh, no shot, no shot. Why was this ever on a cursed cocktails list? This is good. Oh my goodness, is good. Yeah, why was this ever on a cursed cocktail list? It whoever put this on the cursed cocktail list just never heard of an old fashioned. This is so good. This is like unironically like on par with well actually that doesn't actually add up. It's literally on par with a whiskey old fashioned. And whiskeys when you say old fashioned, people think whiskey. People legit, people should think gin too. This is so good. This is so good. Oh my goodness. Like people should make gin old fashions like a normal thing. This is actually like on the same level of whiskey old fashions. And it's like I said historically. So the first you go back on whiskey cocktails. The first one was a Genever cocktail. Genever's closer to gin than it is whiskey, so it kind of makes sense actually. Like whiskey, gin, bitters, like that. There was no way this was going to be bad. There was 0% chance this was going to be bad, and it turns out it's great. Holy moly, this is this is excellent. I should try to describe the flavors. Hold on. Yeah, you get the floral note up front mixed with the Ingo. You get like a bitter ride through like the other herbs. Yeah, you get like a lot of the spices, the herbs. Yeah, it's just a nonstop flow of just like a beautiful meld of the floral and spicy notes of the gin with like the biting bitter flavor of the Ingo just all throughout the flavor process. And it's like a different walk. So like as you're taking the walk, it's like floral herb I can't describe, herb I can't describe, herb I can't describe, herb I can't describe, with like the bitters standing alongside it in tandem in a really pleasant way. This is just good. This is just an excellent drink. If I was doing a tier list, this is easily S tier. Like whiskey old fashioned S tier, this S tier, that A tier. I'm not doing a tier list because I expect all of these to be good. Like it's old fashions are nearly unfuckable. That being said, there is one drink I do think it can fuck up, but not because of not because of anything other than the spirit itself. I hate hag than mommy because it just sounds rude. There's that too. I've had to explain hags to some JPs, and it usually includes if you said this to a woman in real life, they'll punch you. That's true. That's true in English too. Like the VTubers who get called hags, like stop calling me this. It's so. I'm gonna bonk you guys and like all this stuff. Like even if it's like half in jest, like they are saying the same thing. Like they would hit them too. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. It's like I get it. I get it. It's like there is something nice about reclaiming a term that is meant to be disrespectful and turning it into respectful. There's a certain like weeaboo. Weeaboo was a way to like describe weebs. Well, describe like hardcore anime fans who are like maybe too into it, and then like weebs reclaimed it. They're like, yeah, I'm proud to be a weeaboo. I'm proud to do this, and it's like, yes, it's a little cringe, but it's fine. It's like you like. I embrace it sometimes too. I've always loved anime. I mean, I'm a VTuber, of course I do, but it's like it is nice. That being said, we're taking it way too far in terms of because of the fact that we're calling other people it as opposed to like referring to it to ourselves. Like it's it's much. It's too much for me. It's too much. It's too much how far it's gone for me. Also, whenever I think of hags, I think of D&D hags, and those are not attractive in the slightest, which was the point. Yeah. I don't think any woman wants to be a proud hag. Yeah, exactly, too. Like it's not really a term you can reclaim at all. So it doesn't really work as like a reclamation word. Man, I can't stop drinking this. How is a gin old fashioned ever gonna be considered cursed? This is so good. And Tanqueray is not a top tier gin at all. It is very much like a midfield gin. It's like adequately priced, higher than bottom shelf. Like it's adequately priced. It's like market standard, and like in an old fashioned, it's wonderful. I need to make more gin old fashions because if that's what a gin old fashioned tastes like, I can't wait to try it with even better gin. And Tanqueray's a fine gin. There's nothing wrong with Tanqueray. All right. Next up, rum. Let me grab a nice. And then there's one more after this, and I guarantee. So The three we tried so far were great. I always love whiskey. I always love um I always love whiskey. I'm I was neutral on tequila, but now that I've gotten to like properly taste a good tequila, I was really into the tequila old fashioned. The gin, the gin old fashioned was incredible. Like I'm just shocked how good it was. Like it's legitimately one of the better drinks I've ever had, and it's so simple. And now we're gonna move on to rum, which I also expect to be excellent because I love rum, and it doesn't seem like anything we're gonna add to it would ever mess with that. And then the last one, I'm pretty sure is gonna be bad, but we'll save that for the end. So be right back. That one might be a little bit more watered down. I did want to say actually, so that was going to be an episode. I need to plan it a little better. A lot of these episodes so far haven't been well planned, but that was something I do want to try at some point. Is a things you don't need but are really nice to have, because there's a ton of maybe I can do both, but there's a ton of videos out there. It's like what you need to be a bartender, and I'm like, I definitely think you need like a bar spoon. You definitely need a bar spoon. You should try to get at least one rocks glass. Like, get a set of rocks glasses. You should get a set of. Technically, all glassware is optional, but if you really want to start with basics, I would say a rocks glass and like just any up glass, like a margarita glass. Get a margarita glass and a jigger, just something that measures your pores. If you want to be fancier, use a barbell or maybe use a Japanese jigger. Or I found this one really good. This is the restaurant standard one. Even though it only goes up to half, one and a half, it's still like really good. Like there's plenty of stuff you need, but I feel like there's not enough content about like stuff that like really ups your game, like immediately levels you up. Like I would say like straws. Like if you got like straws for specific drinks, that would like metal straws that you can wash and reuse all the time. That's a huge level up. Or like peelers for your old fashions. Like, could you do this with a knife? Sure, but like having a peeler is so much easier. Or like all sorts of stuff. Or like the way you do not need necessarily clear ice. The reason why every YouTuber uses clear mixology YouTuber uses clear ice is because it looks rad. And then so like I could teach you in 5 minutes how to make clear ice. It really is not hard at all. And like all the YouTubers will also explain that to you. It's not hard at all. And so it's like it's the perfect sort of thing for like things that really make your mix like level up your mixology without effort. And I feel like teaching you how to make clear ice, it's so easy, but you need to understand the science about it. And like I would really be into teaching you in the episode. I could tell you right now, but I would rather it to be that. And what it is you literally buy a coffee mug, like an insulated coffee mug, and put it in your freezer. You buy an insulated coffee mug, fill it with water, put it in your freezer, late, and then when it freezes, temper it, chisel it, and then it's done. But we can go deeper on that on another time. Eto, where was I? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, duh. We need to actually make our rum old fashioned now. And you'll notice like my ice is in a weird shape. The thing is, when I make my ice, my little coffee mug is bigger than the ice itself, so I have to chip away at it to like make it fit in this. And then so it's going to it they have all these random shapes in it, but I actually kind of like that. It's a little bit avant-garde. It's a little bit like it's personalized and it's handmade, so it kind of feels nice as opposed to if I had like perfectly clear ice, and it's like it kind of brings the wrong impression of like, oh yeah, you probably bought it off somewhere, or you like have some really expensive equipment. No, I literally have a coffee mug that you can buy literally anywhere, and like an ice pick that, yes, that is a bartender only type of item, but it also costs like $10. That's tops. And then you get really cool fancy ice, and you can make cool looking drinks like this. So half an ounce of simple syrup, 2 dashes of Angostura bitters again. And I knew from the start which rum I wanted to do. Is rum is extremely diverse. I can do a whole episode on rum alone. I do want to do what that is all blank the same at some point. And the rum episode is going to be really telling because rum, like, what the definition of rum is so broad that, like, there's a reason why, like, every country has its own kind of rum, basically. And they can be vastly, vastly different. So I could choose, I could have done this episode and it was just about rum. I could do like any episode I do that's about rum, I can do about any kind of rum. So it's it's really that diverse. And so I knew which rum I was gonna go for today. Smith and Ross, my favorite kind of rum. It is Jamaican rum, and it is a particularly what we call funky rum. Is a particularly funky rum because a key thing about Jamaican rum, I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, pot stilled. It's the way it's stilled, and it generally, a lot of Jamaican style rums have this weird sort of like, and this sounds weird to say, is Ryan banana aftertaste, and that sounds bad, but it's actually pleasant. Like it is a really bizarre, like, sort of aftertaste that is like weird but in a good way type of flavors. And then like Smith and Cross is like particularly strong with that like weird banana flavor. And so I love it so much. Anytime I'm unclear which rum I want to use, I'm not always going to use Smith and Cross because it's just a powerfully good rum. Ooh, ooh. Speaking of weird. Yeah, this is gonna taste weird in the best way possible. I can feel it. Ooh, another good juicy pull right there. I'm glad I bought these fresh oranges. These have been genuinely, unironically, these have been the best orange rips I've gotten in my entire thing, because my oranges aren't usually this fresh. I literally bought these just today, just for this episode. Okay, rum old fashioned with specifically a Jamaican uh rum, because there's so many different kinds of rum. Ooh, yep, there we go. Won't lie, I didn't enjoy this as much as other ones, but it's mostly because anything you make with rum is usually a maximalist drink. So the old fashioned is very much a minimalist drink. It's as as we mentioned, very simple. Simple syrup, bitters, spirit. Only three ingredients. Things you make with rum, you tend to go crazy with. It's like, okay, the Mai Tai, for instance, you put orgeat, which is almond syrup. You put it's lime juice. You put it's curacao. You put three different kinds of rum in there. I use half ounce of Smith and Cross, half ounce of Planary 5 year, 1 ounce of Overproof, and then you shake that with crushed ice, and you serve it with crushed ice, and then you like put cherry in it, and then you put mint leaves in it to like enhance the nose of it. And so it's a very maximalist drink. You're throwing drinks is that they're very maximalist. It's just reminiscent of tiki culture in general. It's just like throw everything at it and then it's good. Now, as I mentioned with the other drinks, the old fashioned is a great way of sampling your spirit because it really brings out everything that spirit is about. And confirmed, Smith and Cross is absolutely heavenly. Yeah. It's like what was that Gwen Stefani song? This shit is bananas. 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 Bananas, 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 bananas. It tastes like weird bananas. Yeah, it tastes like bananas that you. Yeah, it's like a banana pie or like a banana like cream cake with just like all sorts of baking spices and delicious like nutmeg. I didn't put any nutmeg in there, but I taste nutmeg. Nutmeg and like some fruits. I think I detect some apple in there. Yeah, bananas way up front, like fresh bananas. Baking spices, some like hard fruits, like crispy apples, and then slightly molded bananas at the end. Yeah, yeah, confirmed, confirmed. Smith and Cross is an excellent rum. Also, when I drink rum drinks, I'm expecting like a million different flavors just because as as rum drinks tend to be maximalist. This is a minimalist drink. And so it's a little bit weird to like have a drink that's so minimalist with rum. I do not dislike it at all. It's great still. It just feels a little weird to have such a minimalist drink with rum. So, like, weirdly, the one I was looking forward to the most was actually like my least favorite one. But if this was a tier list, it's like S tier, S tier, A tier, A tier. Like, this is still like a very lovely drink, a very good drink. I would, if I was served this at a bar, I would love it. It's just like I would rather have a whiskey or a gin, old fashioned. This is still great, just not as good as it could have been. And that's more of the nature of rum itself rather than that's more the nature of rum drinks rather than the rum itself. Woo. Oh man, I'm very drunk, but there is one last the one I definitely want to try. There were two actually I wanted to try, but I think I should hold off on one of them. Mostly because one is a flavor enhancer and one is an actual base spirit. So the last one is going to be a vodka one. And you've heard my opinions on vodka during the Valhalla streams. I genuinely don't like vodka just because it's like it is genuinely flavorless. It is genuinely like people joke that it's spicy water. It literally is. It dilutes your drink but makes it stronger, and that's the only value that's um that vodka brings. So not looking forward to this one. This was also on Greg's cursed cocktails list, and he was like, "Man, wow, this drink is bland." And it's like he had like a kind of exaggerated reaction as he normally does with a bad drink, but it wasn't because it was like actively bad and like it tasted nasty to him. It was like, God, how is it so bland? How is it so bland? Or something like that. So that's why I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but it's like I'm very interested to have that same experience and see if I feel similarly, because I felt similarly during the Valhalla streams. We had like those drinks where it's like lime juice, orange juice, like splash of blue curacao, and then vodka. And I was like, I do not taste anything but fruit juice in this drink. It is literally a fruit juice that gets you drunk. And there's nothing wrong with that, for the record. I should clarify. Like, if you, because I know there are non-drinkers who don't have as refined a palate, or like people who don't like indulge in like really fancy cocktails like I do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I get it. Fruit A nice fruit juice that gets you a little wiggly, little drunk, like it. That's nice. That's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. For someone as pretentious as me, I do not enjoy that because I like complexity in my drinks. So, so yeah. I'm not looking forward to the vodka old fashioned, but we'll see. Because as I keep mentioning, the whole point of an old, a huge characteristic of the old fashions is that they let you to explore. There's gonna be an issue with vodka, so we'll see. Oh, this was the gin one. Still fantastic. Be right back. I need to grab one more glass and the ice. Oh my goodness. It was leg day yesterday, so yeah, it's the hardest I worked out my legs. My legs are sore as hell, man. Oh my goodness. I'm glad I don't work and I'm on my feet during work, so it hurts so much to walk. Ugh. Sorry for the random audio issues too, among everything else too. Like I'm not 100% sure what causes the like random drops. At least that's temporary, but yeah, I'm not sure what causes the random like very rapid mute on mute. And so it's like, sorry about that. This will probably be the last cocktail of the day. I'm like obscenely drunk, and especially because I want to finish like these other ones. I'm probably not going to finish this one, thankfully, but still, it's this is not nearly as much alcohol as I've drank during like the Valhalla streams or like the other ones, but it's the issue of like these are very high proof cocktails. Just as long as you're aware, we're okay. Yeah. Thank you guys always for stopping by the way. That was a funny little thing I was gonna do. So I know there's call to actions are very important on YouTube. Like people meme on the whole like, oh, like, comment, and subscribe, hit that bell. But it actually really does matter. Like your viewers do need to be reminded of it, right? And so like I was trying to think of I talked early in the stream before you arrived about how like one might maybe I should repeat it again because you guys weren't here, and for now I still have no viewers. Um, I I have two big resolutions for this year. One, well, three, but the first one is very obvious: stream more, be more consistent at streaming. But one actually is to cosplay. I really wanted to cosplay for a long while, and like I'm actually finally taking the leap. I actually buy a cosplay, and I'm probably not going to post it on my main account because I, unlike a lot of VTubers, I actually do respect the difference between reality and fiction. And so like I probably will make a secondary account for cosplay, but I do really want to try cosplaying. Second, I need to get back to editing my videos. I really need to start working on my videos. And something I actually thought about, and I think about a lot in terms of like how I would do my call to action, because there's no natural way to do it, is like I really appreciate the way uh Devin Nash does it. So he doesn't have any sponsors. He has nothing to show because he's a CEO IRL. So he doesn't need the money anyways. He has no sponsors to do. Like everyone else has like a sponsor, dedicates like 2 minutes to a sponsor or whatever. He dedicates 2 minutes to just like chilling his Patreon and talking about like how much he appreciates it. And so I was thinking, also a normal adult Luke. He doesn't take any sponsors either. He's fully Patreon funded and just wants to remind people to like and subscribe and whatnot, because it genuinely does help. Not as much as watch time, but it genuinely does help. And so what they do is something like, hey, you've made it to this part of the video. Thank you so much for watching. It really appreciates me. If you really like what I'm doing, I do this and that every week. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see all that. It's it's a common tip for, and like it I he instead of just like the usual like scripted like comment and subscribe thing, is an off the cuff, very genuine an appreciation with like comment and subscribe thrown into it basically. And so I'm probably gonna do some of that. So when I start editing my own videos finally. Honestly, like it feels weird to do this as a fucking nobody because like, I love you, Filter T and Shibity, for being here and supporting me. But it's also like I do feel I know I need to make YouTube videos and shorts to help me grow as a channel and all that. And so like I I I did wonder if I should just hire an editor right away instead of learning how to do it myself. But also like I should learn how to do it myself. So it's like it's a tough thing to know how to balance. Anyways, I already put the simple in there, and if I didn't, I will be reminded of it quite soon. 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, and then my nemesis. That's not the vodka. Vodka. There is a reason I choose Tito's, by the way. I have a very strong opinion on vodka, as I've mentioned before. I think it's flavorless. I think it doesn't matter which vodka you do. When you taste vodka side by side, you will notice differences, but they're not so strong that, and I'm willing to do that eventually for Is All Blink the Same series. I'm pretty sure I will tell the difference. How to Drink did his own experiment on it based on doing it in the form of a game show where he taste tested a bunch of different vodkas, and they did taste relatively significantly different. The issue, and I've noticed this myself with the various vodkas I've tried, is that they don't taste significantly different enough to matter. And so it's why like you shouldn't really care about which vodka you get. I do intentionally choose Tito's because in his experiments he found this was the best vodka to price ratio. It was like a mid-tier vodka in terms of price that tasted like the more expensive vodkas to him. Like it was a blind taste test, and he was supposed to order the vodkas from least expensive to most expensive. And then he put Tito's like way up in the expensive tiers, despite it being like middle tier, like it's certified middle tier. It wasn't inexpensive, it wasn't expensive. And like in general, like the expensive vodkas he got generally right, and the inexpensive vodkas it was a hair miss. So yeah, Tito's. I choose Tito's because according to him it punches above its weight class. I will run my own experiment someday. If I were a VTuber, I would probably do call to actions as unnaturally and as fake as possible, like a slimy you salesman, or just lean into it. I don't know if I would recommend that in general. It it does genuinely help. Like people have experimented, and like you do need to remind your viewers to subscribe because they forget to. Like maybe someone really does enjoy your streams and they would like to subscribe to you, and they would like to watch you more, and they do it. Gently reminding them to subscribe is actually important because people just forget to. It's like, okay, you click on the stream, you watch it, you enjoy yourself, you go off. And because you watched all of the stream, the YouTube algorithm knows you like this VTuber, and therefore it will recommend them to you. But let's say you're busy for a few days, or like, I don't have time to watch the stream right now. I, I'm just gonna listen to some music again. And then suddenly YouTube is like, wait, you don't, you haven't been clicking on that VTuber streams. Oh, you don't like them anymore? Okay, it's fine. We'll stop recommending it to you. We'll recommend you other things. And then you can't find them again because you're not subscribed to them. When you click subscribe, it does actually show up in your recommendations. So it does matter, but also like I get it. There is no way to make it sound natural. It is cringe every time. And that's the problem I face when I was making a bunch of my first videos was like, God, how do I put the call to action in the video that feels natural? And I just couldn't find a way, so I just literally put the meme like comment and subscribe at the end of the video, and that was it. Like how really old TV shows would stop in the middle and the actors would sell you cigarettes instead of a separate ad. Oh yeah. I actually remember some of this. There's shoot, I accidentally dropped my headphones. One sec. There was aren't there like old Flintstones episodes where at the end of the episode, Fred Flintstone and Barney, that was the other one. Fred and Barney would just like sit up against their rock and then just start smoking Marlboros and be like just relaxing, puffing on Marlboros, and like just straight up advertising to children. And it was just like, holy shit, the past. Holy shit, you allowed fucking cigarette companies to advertise to children like that? Allegedly, in my opinion, just to make sure, just to make sure. I I I do not want to get sued. Oh yeah, that tasted exactly like bitters. Here goes nothing. It's an old fashioned. It won't taste bad, but I guarantee I'm gonna be disappointed. Okay, okay. Hold on, hold on. I'm sorry. This is not funny to anyone but me. This is not funny to anyone but me, but so I love this, but for completely the opposite reason you think. I it it is exactly as expected. I cannot taste the vodka at all. But I love the taste of Angostura bitters. This is all I can taste. Remember when I said the thing that I said about old fashions way at the beginning with the whiskey old fashioned is that it's a very good vehicle for helping you separate the flavors of the spirit you make. The really like get to know the spirit you put into it, because with a basic simple syrup and the Angostura bitters, the spirit is straightforward. The spirit is very much the front and center of telling you what the characteristics of that flavor is. The vodka is so flavorless that what it actually ends up doing is highlighting the bitters. I love Angostura bitters, therefore I love this drink. However, this is a bad drink because all I've done is spike some Angostura bitters. It's so good because it's a bitters drink. It is a bitters old fashioned as opposed to like anything else, except like that just proves how flavorless vodka is. I love it because it just tastes like Angostura bitters. That's all it tastes like. It tastes like sweet Angostura bitters. And you get the full brunt of what Angostura bitters taste like. I do not taste anything about the vodka because vodka is flavorless. And it proves my point about vodka. Even though the old fashioned is supposed to be a drink that emphasizes the spirit. I'm sorry, this is not funny to anyone else, but I just find this drink so hilarious because it's so damning to vodka. I've never really liked vodka, and this by making a drink I love so much, it proves how much I dislike vodka. Oh my goodness. Oh shit, I forgot to put the orange peel. It I guarantee it barely would have changed anything. In fact, I could make another one with the orange peel, but I almost feel like it wouldn't change anything. It would taste like orange peel and the bitters, which would be lovely. Which would be lovely. It would enhance it, but it wouldn't enhance the vodka at all because there's nothing to enhance. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I started cracking up. I started losing my shit over something that's only funny to me. Although at the time Flintstones were the equivalent to the Simpsons, wouldn't that mean they're wildly popular? Wasn't isn't I mean the Simpsons aren't now because apparently they're quite bad. But it's like, aren't the Simpsons wildly popular? The one that same channel I talked about outside Xbox, they joke all the time about how like, oh yeah, Simpsons was excellent for 10 years and then it was trash for the rest of the time. Oh my goodness, I'm about to finish the vodka old fashioned before everything else because I just love the taste of the Angostura bitters so much. Except that I literally hate vodka. Oh my god. Oh my god. that that was an unexpected turn. I was expecting to really be disappointed by this and instead it became my favorite because I love Angostura bitters so much. I mean, in the sense that the Flintstones were like an adult comedy series like The Simpsons and not a kid's show, so cigarettes weren't as out of place. Okay, I see, I understand now. My bad. um, okay. So if it was considered like more of a mature show, like, cause I think to me, like my go-to thought for adult cartoon was South Park. Okay, but if Flintstones was more on the oh, what the fuck? Crap, some chalk got into my little stocking there. But oh no, it's the nutmeg. Yeah. Um yeah, if it's more akin to that, then yeah, that would make a little more sense. It's still fucked up, like putting cigarettes in a fucking cartoon. They sold the Flintstones as a kid series after the original show ended. Yeah. Oh, okay. I understand now. That makes more sense to me now. That makes more sense to me now. Holy crap! I finished it. Well, I'm close. There's still a little bit left. There we go. The first one I finished was the vodka old fashioned, which is ironic because it is ironically my favorite one while proving why I don't like vodka. My goodness. Let's get back to the whiskey one. Oh, it's super diluted now, but that's fine. It still tastes good. Ooh, man. Yeah, what was I planning to do next? I honestly don't know. I hadn't thought that far ahead. I might finally do actually, so I was at the uh, uh liquor store today because like I said to get more Old Granddad, which is my favorite bourbon. Um But also, so oh yeah, that's why it was tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to play some kind of gotcha game. If you look on my channel, it is going to be Girls Frontline 2. That being said, I really, 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 really want to play the Blue Archive event that just went on. I know it ended, but like we can replay it. That should be fine. So I really want to play the Blue Archive event. If not, we can play GFL 2. That's fine. Excuse me. And I have story. Actually, I can tell the story now, and then we can repeat the story afterwards, anyways. But remember how I tried to do a GFL stream before my break, and it was just like, it was a catastrophe because it was like just it kept glitching out. Everything had no textures. It was such a disaster. I legit bought like I spent like $150 buying like a capture card or buying an extension cord, buying and everything I could to like make sure that I could actually stream it because now I can stream it from my phone. Um, and then that would allow me to make that would allow me to do gaming streams again. At the very least, mobile gaming streams. I would only be able to do mobile gaming streams, but I can do gaming streams again. That will be exciting. The problem is I can't charge my phone while doing it. So the reason I couldn't do a stream, I couldn't. The reason I couldn't do the gaming stream last time was because like my chargers were on the fritz. Like my chargers were so inconsistent. They wouldn't charge my fucking phone as unless it was like plugged in a certain way. You know how wires get like that sometimes where like the wire needs to be in the perfect place to actually connect. Like that's what happened. And so like I was like on 32% or something. And then I look back and my phone's still at like 34% because they hadn't been charging other than like for like a few minutes. And so I just couldn't stream because my phone would die in the middle of that stream. And then so like that will that puts a hard limit on how long those streams can be. But like I really so I had to buy new chargers first off. And then now I need to remember to charge my phone before those streams, but we will be bringing back gacha gaming streams. So I'm going to play GFL2 Nikkei GFL2 Nikkei Blue Archive again on Tuesday nights. So tomorrow night we can totally do some gacha game streams. Hope you guys enjoy that. And so that's what I'll be up to on Tuesdays. And then like I would selfish request. Do either of you know how to do video editing? I might need help with that just in general, but also just like I it really is a goal of mine to actually be able to do like legit um YouTube videos. So like that is something I need to start working on for real this time. And like I'm still procrastinating on it. I kept thinking to myself as I was playing Cyberpunk, as I was doing other stuff on my off time after work, and it's like, man, I really should actually be editing my streams into videos. But like I know that's something I want to do, and so like yeah. I still want to do content like this where I'm like trying all these weird things and so that I can turn them into YouTube videos. And plus it's fun to do it as a stream, be here with you guys, chatting with you guys, teaching you about things in real time, and then also chatting about with you guys about random stuff. But like also like I know I want to do the YouTube thing, and that's why I'm trying to split difference by making all these themed streams. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a selfish request, but this was fun. This was fun. I learned a lot about some of my favorite spirits. I learned a lot about vodka. I learned a lot about old fashions, and I hope you learned something too about just the old fashioned in general. It really is a fascinating history. It really is a fascinating drink, despite being so simple. It is why this is why the old fashioned is always the first cocktail that most people make, is because it's so simple and it's so delicious. It's so simple, it's so delicious, and it's so good at teaching you about the spirit. And so it is just a wonderful entry point into the world of mixology, and that's what I'm trying to do here with this channel. Is I'm trying to teach you what it's like to be able to learn how to mix your own drinks, to make great drinks, to really enjoy these drinks, to understand why people like speak so highly of these alcohols. I know there's legitimate reasons to never drink alcohol, but if you've ever had a curiosity about why people drink alcohol even though it tastes like fire and bourbon, try an old fashioned. It really teaches you the character of a spirit, and you will be shocked about the doors it opens up, how it expands your mind about like the unique flavor world of cocktails. So yeah, this was fun. I really it's been something been wanting to try for a while, and I'm happy I got to stream it and really show you guys in real time how it feels to like have tried all these different cocktails, especially the vodka one. That was shocking. That I did not expect that to be my reaction. I didn't think I would just like fall down in laughter with how with how old Angostura forward it was because of how bland vodka is. So, oh my goodness, that was funny. But this was awesome. So thank you. You have a copy of DaVinci Resolve to download and don't know how to use it. I've watched a bunch of tutorials and did a few like practice sessions, because there's this one tutorial where they let you download a bunch of like, it's basically a fake commercial for cookies. And then so they shot all this like royalty free footage for cookies, and then and like you're supposed to follow the YouTube video in order to make a pretty good commercial out of that footage. It's like intentionally long drawn out like pictures of cookies, of like a stack of cookies being zoomed out, or like people taking cookies from a stack, or like a guy eating cookies really slowly. And then so it was it's literally a free YouTube video. You can look it up. And then like they give you like a Google Drive where you can download all these clips. And then so like if you follow along with the video, you should make like a pretty decent cookie commercial based on the footage they shot. And so that's basically my only knowledge of editing in DaVinci Resolve. And I need to learn how to do that with my own videos, which is assuredly not going to be as good as those sample clips. So I'm really intimidated to edit my own work, but I know it's something I have to do, and I know it's going to be rewarding for me. So I'm intimidated, but that's why it's my New Year's resolution. I really want to accomplish that, and I accomplished some of my goals last year. I really want to accomplish my goals this year, because my one of my goals last year was to lose a ton of weight. I did that, and now my biggest motivation for losing weight, and yes, like being healthy, being fit, all that is nice. It genuinely has always been to cosplay. I once bought cosplay, but I couldn't fit in it, and I felt a little ashamed to be like a little bit overweight and wearing that cosplay. And then so it's like I felt a little bad about that, and it's like I really want to cosplay. It feels fun to cosplay, and so like I'm now that I've lost a ton of weight and still like gain fitter, gain stronger, gain leaner. Like I really want to take cosplaying seriously this year, and then I also want to take editing video seriously this year. I mostly want to learn how to make karaoke vids. Slicing out specific things is relatively easy, I think. You just download the video and you slice it. Like that's what a lot of clips are after all. But it's like doing all the extraneous stuff. And maybe I need to approach it the same way too. Do all the easy stuff first and then make it fancier later. Much like an old fashioned, eh? maybe yeah, I've taught myself through an old fashioned as well. Sometimes you just start simple because doing it the basic style is best, and then I can make an improved whiskey cocktail after that. Well, I want to add subtitles. That's not too bad either. If you go to my own YouTube channel, my only video on this channel is me making an Aru cocktail for Riku, Riku Hachima Aru from Blue Archive. And like adding text is not that hard to do either, so it should be nice. But yeah, it's super selfish of me to ask, but if at some point into you ever want to help me edit videos, I would greatly appreciate. I would even pay. Like obviously you should pay your editors, but I would even be willing to pay if you're willing to do that for me. But it would be appreciated. And but at first I really want to learn how to edit my own videos, and yeah, those are my two big New Year's resolutions for myself. What are your guys' New Year's resolutions, if I may ask? If you want to keep it private, it's fine. Oh my goodness, I have kind of a crazy New Year's thing. So I kind of hate fireworks. Is the thing. I really hate fireworks. In fact, they remind me of gunshots. I have a little bit of a like a. It's ironic because I love gun games like Girls Frontline and whatnot. When I know it's fiction, it doesn't trigger me. But then like shit like fireworks, let alone like real gunshots, like really bothers me. And then so like I get so terrified of fireworks that like I at New Year's my tradition is to take a nap at 11 p.m. Either go to sleep if like I used to work day shifts, so like I should be asleep at night anyways. But I as a night shifter now, like I my tradition is to take a nap or go to sleep at least at 11 p.m. and then wake up either in the morning or at like 1 a.m. so that I can avoid all the fireworks. That being said, after all that was done and I finished, I woke up during the new year. I did end up drinking an entire bottle of champagne by myself. You would see on my tweet on Twitter is twitter.com, or I guess x.com, but fuck that. Twitter.com/ Kazani no Natsu. I I I made a French 75, which is it's basically a gin sour. It's gin, lemon juice, sugar. Shake that up, strain into a glass, and then top with champagne. I made that for myself. That's already strong. The French 75 is a very famously stealth strong cocktail. If you also remember, that's what Claris cocktail is based off of. Showgirls Bombshell. That was a great drink. I should make that again some point. Um, that's based on the French 75. So I made a French 75 with champagne, opening a new bottle of champagne, and then I just decided to play some games for the rest of the night, and like while sipping on the champagne, and I ended up drinking all of the champagne. I finished the entire bottle by myself. and I was And the thing is, I had to go into work the next day, so I was just like fucking champagne hungover the next day, and it was very unpleasant. Thankfully, like at work or holidays are very easy days, so it wasn't too bad. Don't really have any. Oh, you should, man. You should. Like, I know it's kind of a meme at this point that New Year's resolutions are made to be broken, but it's good to set yourself goals. It's good to try it, and even if you fail, like at least you tried, right? Or like you had something to strive to, and like as long as you tried, it's good to have goals. That's why like I love Ludwig's advice in terms of for streaming, where it's like, oh, you have to write down your goals, write down your year-long goals for your streaming. And so even if you fail, you know what to improve on. And it's like, yeah, like having goals is fine even if you fail them. So I would say try to think of something. It's not too late, but the year has just started. Go think of some goals for yourself, T. I promise you. I promise you. It will help. Ooh, this was the gin one. Hell yeah. My cat hates fireworks too. Animals don't like fireworks in general. Right? I swear to God, the dog, uh, every dog in the area that hears fireworks starts yapping like crazy every time I hear fireworks. Every time they hear fireworks, at least. Was Bonnie a dog VTuber? What was her name again? Bonnie Barkswell? I think you mentioned it during our Cinderella stream. How she was like, oh, I can't believe this butt game is making me cry. God, oh my goodness. The new Nikkei event is so good. The new Nikkei event is so good. Holy shit, it's so good. Okay, okay. Legit. So my favorite event in Nikkei still might be New Year, New Sword, but I'm not 100% sure anymore because that's how good this new event was. Footstep Walk Run. It's the new Rappy event. Uh I don't know if you play Nikkei Chibudi, so I'll explain it. Like it's about Rappy, who's like the new who not new at all. She's one of the oldest characters in the game. She is the literal main hero and she's the one on the app logo. She's the one on the loading screen when you first open the app. And like she's been the main character for yeah, she is. Okay. Yeah. She she's been an important character, but we never really had much backstory for her, which felt weird. And also suspiciously, we had an SSR Ennis, we had an SSR Neon. Rappy's the Gyaru. No, no, that's Rupee. Rappy is the brunette with the like military garb and whatnot. She's literally the cover girl. She's literally the cover girl. She's on the app icon, I believe, right? I'm pretty sure she's the app icon, but she's the first member of Counters, and she's like the the commander's right hand woman. She weirdly she never had much backstory until this event, and also suspiciously she never had an SSR until this event, and then like this story delves into her backstory and oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Oh my goodness. Like the way like she grew up worshiping Nikkeis but then like being hospitalized, like the way her life went as a Nikkei when she became a Nikkei, like the way Red Hood imprinted on her. It's not only just a good story, like it's just like a really inspiring and sad and tragic, but like really it's like sad and tragic but in a very motivating way of like how Rappy grew up and like how Rappy is the way she is today. but it also adds so much like main story context that explains a lot in the main story now, because it's another prologue event. We finally learn a little bit more about what happened to Red Hood after Red Ash, and we learn about Rappy, because from Red Ash we learned that Rappy had been on the surface for so long herself. And it's just like, oh my goodness, it was such a good story. It's, oh my goodness. Like, I legitimately, I'm trying to figure out if I like this better than New Year New Sword. And like, that's considering that Overzone exists, a lot of people's favorite event. That's considering Red Ash exists. Like, the two best events according to most Sneaky players is Overzone and Red Ash, because they're so lore heavy. And Old Tales now, Cinderella story, because they're so lore heavy, because they're so dramatic, because they're so important. Like, New Year New Sword isn't that important, but it's such a well told old story. Footstep Walk Run is adds a lot of important context, but isn't necessarily important for world building, but it's still just such a well done story. And that's why I think the other ones are the three huge lore events, Overzone, Red Ash, and Old Tales, are a little bit overrated, even though they're still excellent. They're still like A plus plus S tier. But like the way you really connect with Scarlet in New Year New Sword, the way you really connect with Rappy in uh Footstep Walk Run is just so powerful. Is I I'm sad I couldn't stream that, to be honest, because I really would have loved to like stream my reactions, react with it with you guys. Like, it's such a good story. And I'm glad, and it's part of why I'm super glad to start doing Jesus Christ, my hand these stockings are getting like really fucked up with all the dirt and grime on this thing. I'm gonna have to do a deep washing of this. It's why I'm really excited to get back into gaming streams, because like I did start the Sabine events for the um for Blue Archive, and I was like, oh, I gotta stream this. Now that I can finally stream it again, I gotta stream this. It's such a fun. I know I'm gonna react strongly to so many things in this event. I'm excited to do that. So if things go as planned, we are. Is your one thumb all right? Oh, did you see? I guess you saw that it was slightly bleeding, right? No, it was a hangnail. That's literally all it was. It was a hangnail that took a little more with it than intended. Don't worry about it. Um, so if all goes to plan, we're gonna play Sabine, the Blue Archive event that's just ended, but we can always go to the recap sections. If not, we'll play Girls Frontline 2 and play the event there, because I got through some of it, but I haven't gotten through all of it. And that might be fun to do as well. And especially because I won't have to talk as much because it's fully voiced. And I would just love to play more Girls Frontline, to be frank. So that's what's gonna be the plan for tomorrow. Hopefully I remember to charge my phone. But that will be the plan for tomorrow. Um as for next week, what will it be? What will it be? If we don't do Girls Frontline next week, if we don't do Girls Frontline this week, we will do Girls Frontline next week for the gaming stream tomorrow for on Tuesday night. As for Monday night, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do for Mixology Monday. Uh, yeah, I have no idea what I want to do for Mixology Monday, so stay tuned for that. Either way, I've run out of things to yap about. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you've made it this far in the VOD, if you've made it this far here and you're a lurker, thank you so much. I would encourage you to subscribe and all that type of stuff. Thank you so much. And yeah, hope you join me tomorrow. Hope you join me on that, and hope you'll root for me on all my goals for this year. And I'm rooting for you for all your goals. It can be tough. It can be tough to stick to your goals, but that's all the more reason to stick to them. Especially when they're as delicious as this. Just stay simple. The key to big goals is that they are a series of smaller goals that chain up to your ultimate goal. And so it can be as simple as an old fashioned. This took 3 ingredients and you made something great that you can be proud of. And then you can keep building on that and building on that and building on that. And what seems so simple, just adding one thing at a time, turns into something amazing in the end. So where was I trying to go with that? I'm trying to be cool and inspirational, and now I'm cringe because I couldn't finish that thought. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm drunk. And I tried to sound cool and I'm not, so I'm ending the stream now. Thank you so much. But genuinely, thank you so much. It's I love streaming. I love being able to talk to you guys in real time. I love being able to share things with you in real time. I could make these videos just on my own time in terms of like just, being a normal YouTuber, scripting it out and everything, but like I don't think I can handle that without an audience. And so Filter T, Chibity, thank you so much for being here. Thank you anyone who happens to watch the VOD for being here. It really does motivate me a lot. And so I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna end the stream now, but see you guys tomorrow.